Peace, my beautiful souls. Um, okay, so sometimes we go through things like we have these traumas that have happened throughout our lives. It could be when we were like super, super young. Could be a year ago, could be a few months ago. And when we went through that thing, it caused us so much pain, so much anger, so much fear that we tried to block it out and try to never think about that. And it is very important that we do not dwell on the past and things that have happened, but it's equally as important to allow ourselves to go to those times in our minds and heal and let ourselves truly feel the feelings that transpired at those moments and even how they make us feel now. It's really a lot more freeing and healing than we might think it is. And to do that sometimes is really hard. It's really scary. 111 on the timer. Um, because sometimes I can speak personally, like before I started tapping into my traumas and my shadow self, I would be so scared to think about the times that I was SA'd, like all my big traumas. I didn't want to think about those because before, when I would think about them, I would get really depressed and I would stay depressed for a long time. And thinking about how I felt in those moments when like the bigger things were happening, it was really, really hard for me. And I thought that the only way like I wouldn't be able to feel that pain is if I were to die. I thought that me pretending like it didn't happen was helping me. Even though I would pretend like it didn't happen, I would force myself to not think about it and something would happen and I would be triggered and I would think about it, or it would come out of nowhere and I would start thinking about it. It was only until I intentionally thought about those things and allowed myself to feel those feelings, allowed myself to talk about it, write about it, that I truly freed myself. And now, when I think about those things, I don't feel the same way. Not to say that it doesn't ever make me sad or anything, but the way I view it is completely different. I allowed myself to change my perspective. I allowed myself to feel those feelings all the way without judging myself, without like making myself feel bad for it. And I let myself feel that pain. And even now, not saying that it's completely healed, but when it comes up and I feel like I need to feel that pain, I let myself feel that pain. And I know though that I won't be engulfed in it. I don't allow myself to get into a place where, like I said, we dwell on it and I soak and get into a depression. I let myself feel it and accept things for how they are. I let myself see the beauty in what those traumas like the beauty in those traumas, what I gained out of those things that I've experienced. I allowed myself to step out of victim mode and stop looking at it like, oh my God, why did this happen to me? This happened to me. And I look at it as it happened for me. Even though, like I said, sometimes it can cause fears, it can cause sadness and stuff like that. But it's really important that we allow ourselves to go back to those times and properly allow ourselves to feel those and feel it with comforting ourselves, giving ourselves compassion, giving ourselves grace, forgiving ourselves. And it doesn't have to be an SA trauma. Anything can be a trauma and everybody reacts to them differently. That's another thing too. Not allowing yourself to gaslight yourself or belittle yourself or compare your trauma to somebody else's trauma and the way that you react, the way that somebody else's react. Everybody is different. Everybody's situation is a bit different, although we do have very similar traumas at the end of the day. But like I said, we all react differently to it. We all need different um, coping mechanisms sometimes. But one of the most important things I've learned on my journey is that we do have to go back there sometimes. Once again, not getting stuck in the past, not dwelling on the past, but in order to create that future you want, in order to embody the person that you want to be truly, you do have to heal those things. And healing them means you have to acknowledge them fully. And there's sometimes we have to go back to one specific trauma because there's different parts in our bodies, in our energy centers, that we're healing for one trauma. It has one trauma affects us in multiple different ways, if that makes sense, not only in one way, which is why we also feel different emotions pertaining to one thing sometimes, if that makes sense. But yeah, the main thing I wanted to talk about is that I know sometimes it is really, really scary to allow yourself to go there, to allow yourself to tap into that, to think about it, to talk about it, to face those things, to even speak your truth about it. And it can be super overwhelming, but I want to remind you that you do have the power to do that and get through it, more than get through it, thrive through it, like come out on the other side completely open and free, if that makes sense. I know it makes sense. And it takes time. It's not something that you have to rush and will be done one time. Like I said, sometimes you have to revisit the same thing more than one time, but I just want to emphasize how much I know that you can do it. I thought that I couldn't do it, honestly. I did. And I thought that I would never be happy. I thought I would never be free of pain. I thought that I would never embody peace. I didn't even know what the hell peace was, you know? But and I know there's so many people that probably still feel that way, like they can't get through it. If they do it, they I can't stop crying. I can't stop thinking about it. I can't stop feeling the pain. Those are some things that you might tell yourself, and some things that I would tell myself, like that I would never be able to stop thinking about it. I would never stop crying. I would never stop being sad. I would never stop being angry. And it's a lie. What you tell yourself is very important. You have to tell yourself the opposite of those things. You have to speak life into yourself. You have to speak love into yourself and empowerment, because you can do it. You will stop feeling the pain eventually. If not completely, you will stop feeling it as much as you will, as long as you just let yourself feel it, because feelings demand to be felt, and they're here to show you something. They're here to teach you something. Feeling sadness, feeling anger is not a bad thing, although it could be. It is at times very uncomfortable, but it's also something to be grateful for. Be grateful that you're like able to feel those feelings, because being able to feel those feelings truly, you will then be able to feel the opposite, the happiness, the love, the peace fully as well, the feelings of being full of bliss. You know what I'm saying? You have to let yourself feel all of it, but know that you won't stay in it. Even though there's something in your head maybe telling you you will stay stuck in there, I promise you that you will not. And even sometimes, if it takes a couple of days of you feeling that sadness, especially if it's something you've avoided for so long, it might stay a little bit longer. But once again, the important thing is, one of the most important thing is, when you're feeling that sadness, that anger, you have to comfort yourself. You have to be there for yourself. Whatever you wanted your parents or your friends, your lovers, or whomever to do for you in those moments when those things were happening to you, or whenever you were feeling that, you have to do that for yourself, because you are worthy of that. Your inner child is worthy of that. Your teenage self, your adult self, all parts of you are worthy of that grace, worthy of that compassion, worthy of that love, that hug. Hug yourself. Tell yourself you love you. Give yourself a kiss on the shoulder. I haven't done that in a while, but you are worthy of those things, and from yourself, from other people too, yes, but most importantly from yourself. You have to be able to give yourself those things that you want and need, from other people, that you feel that you need from other people. You need that from you the most, if you get what I'm saying. I know you get what I'm saying. But just, yeah, know that you can do it. I know that you can do it. I know that you can tap into those feelings, tap into those times in your life, and thrive through them and get to the other side. It's not impossible. And it starts with you, and it starts with what you're telling yourself about that, like, really, I let yourself get out of victim mode and let yourself see the gifts that were given to you through these traumas, through these things that you went through. Because there's always, no matter how bad a situation is, there's always something that you can gain from it. And sometimes we're just too in it to let ourselves see that, if that makes sense. But you can do it, okay? I love you so much. Let yourself feel so you can heal. and you have to really allow yourself to feel those things. But I promise you'll get through it. I promise you will feel great, even if it's not right away or in those moments. But let yourself see the things, see the benefits, the gifts that came out of those times, and let yourself heal, because you are worthy of healing and you are worthy of feeling good. You are worthy of not seeing these things as solely bad things, if you get what I'm saying. Like, I know it's hard. I'm not saying it's not hard. I'm not saying it's easy. What I'm saying is it's possible, and you have the power, you have the strength to do it. Just like you got through it happening, and I probably felt like you couldn't get through it. You're here now, and it's time for you to allow yourself to go up a notch, to raise your vibration, because you are worthy of doing just that. You are worthy of looking at those things with a higher perspective, with less pain, or even without pain. You know what I'm saying? With understanding, true forgiveness for yourself, for the person, for whatever the situation was. You are worthy of that. 1111 again. Um, in 1111, okay, that's what the 1111 was, which is four in spring mathematics, right? Freedom. Freedom. One of the words is freedom and culture, but freedom, free yourself from the pain, from the anxiety, the fear, all of that stuff. Let yourself be free. That's one of the main things. When before I was going to make this message and it was coming to me, like, I was thinking about how liberated I felt when I started allowing myself to tap into that and take control of the way I responded to those things, and once again, like, learning my triggers and learning why I was reacting a certain way to certain things, sounds, people, touches, whatever the case may be, and standing back in my power. It feels so freeing. Like, you are really worthy of freeing yourself. And then 111 is three, which is understanding. Allow yourself to understand the deeper thing, the deeper message through those traumas that you went through, that you gotten to experience, that you've chosen. Understand that you chose these things to activate you, to wake you up, to set you free of this robot mode of not allowing yourself to feel things. You get what I'm saying? And then one, two, three, four. Listen, growth, expansion. Keep going forward. You got this, okay? You sometimes have to tap back into the past in order to really move forward and to move forward how you want to. Okay, I think that might be all. I love you so much. You can do this. I trust that whoever needs to see this will see it. And yes, happy healing. I wish you the best. I love you so much. Okay, I also wanted to say, or feel like I need to say, that there were many, many times, many, many days that I constantly would think about, like, suicide, because of how much pain I was in. And from the times, like, from thinking about my trauma so much and not knowing how to truly let myself feel the pain. So I would bury it to the point that I felt so numb and I wasn't feeling anything, which is why I was saying, when we try so hard not to feel that pain and avoid that fear, those angers, the sadness, we numb out the other side. So I was so numb to the point that I was wanting to feel, but anything but that emotional pain. So I even started self-harming. And I would self-harm also, like, throughout my years, from I was about like 12, maybe 11 or 12, until I was like 21. Around there, I think, was the last time I ever self-harmed. And I don't know if I already said it, but I did try to commit suicide twice. So if that's also something that you're struggling with, once again, allowing yourself to properly feel these feelings and feel them without judgment, you will not feel all of those opposite feelings. You will not also feel so numb, because you will start to allow yourself to feel the opposite of the pain, of the sadness, and stuff like that. And letting yourself change your perspective on the situations as a whole you won't want to just not be here anymore. You will get to a point where you will be able to once again see the beauty in the things, see the beauty in the world again, see the beauty in yourself again. Because I lacked all of that too. I thought the world was just an awful, awful place. I felt awful about myself in so many different ways. Like, so many different ways, but allowing myself to give myself the grace, give myself the patience, and let myself feel, and intentionally change the way I would speak about myself, I speak about the world, speak about the things that happened to me. It really freed me of all of that and let me feel something that I never thought I would feel. And it's still just the beginning for me. I could say it hasn't been that long. And like I said, it doesn't mean that you'll never feel sad or angry about those situations again, but the point is to allow yourself to feel those things in a healthy manner, once again, without judgment, for the person, for whatever, or for yourself. I know you guys get what I'm saying. Like sometimes I feel like I'm mis explaining, and if I am and you don't understand what I'm saying, please feel free to ask me the questions. But I just wanted to put that out there. Like, the way that I think now, I haven't always thought. I didn't just get here. I was on a complete opposite spectrum of where I am now. Like, it took a lot, but I had to go into my darkness. I had to go into the dark side of my life, the dark side of my person, me as a person, to be able to get to where I am. It wasn't easy, and I wasn't always so positive. Like, I was really probably I was not probably I was a very pessimistic person, and I was filled with so much anger and so much sadness. And yeah, I just wanted to put that out there because once again, I know some people probably even still go through those things, feeling suicidal, self-harming, and stuff like that. And it's no judgment. I'm not here to judge you, but I promise you, there's a different way for you to be able to feel and for you to not feel that emotional pain. Because I know everybody has different reasons of self-harm, but for me personally, I just wanted to feel something, and I didn't want to feel that emotional pain, and I had a high physical pain tolerance. I'd rather feel that than the sadness and stuff that I was feeling, because I didn't know how to process it, and I thought that it was just a bad thing that would never go away. Okay, I think now I'm done. I love you. See you later.